Hi everyone, today we're going to be looking at this. It's the Akasa Vegas TLX 120mm fan, and it's dual-sided addressable RGB. Okay, as you can see, we've got the Akasa Vegas TLX. It's a dual-sided addressable RGB LED cooling fan. Addressable RGB is called a few different things. It could be ARGB, some people even call it RGBA, and digital RGB. The difference between that and standard RGB is basically one thing. That one thing is that on standard RGB, the whole of the lights on the strip, in this case the fan, would have to be the same colour at the same time. So it would be all red, and then it could change all to blue, and then all to green, or whatever colour you wanted it. But on addressable, you can have each individual light as a different colour. So you could have one quarter of the fan red, one quarter of it blue, the other quarter white, and the other quarter green. Okay, as you can see from the packaging looks pretty good. It says basically straight on the box what it is. The box is pretty much all black with the colours of the actual fan on there and a few little highlights. But the text, as you can see there, says it's a Vegas TLX dual-sided addressable RGB cooling fan. It supports digital addressable LEDs with the pin header, a new generation of personalised illumination. Again, it mentions the addressable RGB at the bottom. It's 120mm, which is a bit hard to see on the packaging, and anti-vibration. On the top lip, it does mention about the multi-colours, again addressable RGB. You've got 24 LEDs in there. It's double LED fan frame, which basically means there are lights on the front and the back of the fan. It's got anti-vibration corners. That's obviously where you put the screws in, and where it basically screws into your chassis or your rad or something along that sort of thing. On the sides, it's just basic information, nothing on there. QR code on that side. On the back, it's telling you which connections it will fit. Because this is an addressable RGB, it means it will fit a different connection than a standard RGB 4-pin connector. The ARGB basically connects up to either a 3-pin header or what I class as a 4 with one missing in the middle. So it's actually 3 pins, but it takes up the room of 4 because one of them is actually missing in the middle. But it shows you the information about that. Also shows you how the fan is actually made and all the different parts in there. And it also tells you it's got a 3-pin fan header. You've got all your other bits of information on there for your different languages, but the basis is this bit's English. Okay, let's open this up. It's basically sealed on the tops with a clear sticker, and then it just flips open at the top. First thing you come across when you open it up is some cabling. It looks like the fan connections. So that's the RGB. That's the bit what connects to the actual fan itself. It'll already have a cable attached to the fan that goes in there, and that adapts it to the 4-pin -1, what I call. So it'll connect to your controller or your motherboard. You have got a fan to Molex connection there, so you can power it directly through a Molex connection. I think these days a SATA connection would have been better than a Molex because they're slowly dying off these days, but even still, you've got the ability there. And this is the other RGB connection, which is the straight 3-pin version, depending on which one your motherboard takes. Unfortunately, there isn't a universal standard, and all the manufacturers want to do things slightly different rather than working together. Next thing in the box, one of the things I hate the most, silver screws. Should be black. It's a black fan, or at least the outsides of it is. Screws should be black, or at least give you the option of black, silver, or black and white screws. So let's have a look what else we've got in there. Other than the fan, There's nothing in the box, no instructions, no need for them, so it's a fan. If you want instructions, obviously you can have a look online, but there you go. So that's what the fan looks like. As you can see, the anti-vibration corners are here. They are rubberized. The clear plastic is where all the LEDs are going to go. So as you can see there, there's quite a lot of it. So this bit all lights up. That'll light the fan up itself, or the blades, and then you've got LED strip what goes around there as well. And the bits around the screw holes also have got clear plastic, so I'm guessing they light up a little bit as well. This is your 3-pin fan header. Would have been nice to have a 4-pin version, in all honesty, these days. And then you've got your RGB connector, which obviously connects up depending on which board you've got, to the 4-pin -1 or the 3-pin version, depending on the type of motherboard you're using or your controller. On the back of the fan, not much to see, in all honesty, other than it says Akasa, and it also tells you it's made in China and what the DC voltage is and all your bits and bobs like that. Okay, let's have a look at the measurements of this. First of all, the packaging. The box, height-wise, including the hanging area, is 18 centimeters. Width is around about 13. The depth is just over 3, maybe 3.5 centimeters deep. So just in case you need to know those measurements. The fan itself, with it being 120 millimeters, I guess it's going to be 120 millimeters by 120 millimeters. Yes, it is. So that's 12 centimeters each way, and the actual depth of this is just under 3 centimeters, so I'd say around about 28, 29 millimeters altogether. Cable length, both cables, the RGB and the fan, are going to be roughly the same length, so I'd say they are around about 47, 48 centimeters long. That's not including the connector, so that should give you enough room to connect it up to your motherboard pretty easily, or whatever you're connecting it up to. The additional cables what come with it, obviously the adapters, they'll add on roughly another 10 centimeters, so potentially you've got between 50 and 60 centimeters if you're using the adapters. The price for these work out at £19.50 roughly, or at least that's what the manufacturer recommends, but if you have a look online you'll probably find them a little bit cheaper. As always, we always recommend you purchase them from a local independent retailer, so always support your local businesses. Okay, so the test system we used was the Thermaltake Level 20 MT ARGB case. We disabled the fans for testing. It was an Intel i3-8100 quad-core CPU running at 3.6 GHz, but it was overvoltage to 1.3 volts. The RAM was 2 sticks of 4GB DDR4 Team Delta T-Force RGB 2660 MHz memory, a Xilinx P600W power supply. The GPU was a PowerCool AMD Radeon RX 570 4GB. The CPU cooler was a Skype Mugen Max 100mm air cooler, which we also use for testing 120mm fans. The storage is a Western Digital Black NVMe SSD, which is 250 GB, and the motherboard is a Gigabyte Aorus B360M Gaming Free, and we're running Windows 10 Pro. Along with the Akasa Vegas TLX fan, we also tested a Antec fan, an Arctic P12 fan, as well as a Xilinx fan. As you can see from the chart, there is very little difference between the temperatures at idle temperatures. The lowest temperature we got was 30 degrees, the highest was 31, and the Akasa Vegas actually came in at the 30 degrees, so the lower temperature. The average temperature over 30 minutes of stress testing, the CPU at 100%. The Akasa fan got 52 degrees. Most of the others got 52 degrees, with the exception of the Xilinx fan, which run at 51 degrees Celsius. The top temperature temperature of these fans over that time. The Akasa did come out better than the other fans, believe it or not. It ran at 57 degrees Celsius compared to the Xilinx at 58 degrees, and the Antic and the Arctic fan both running at 59 degrees Celsius. But again, there's very little difference between all the fans, so I take all those with a bit of a pinch of salt, but otherwise it performed well, and there was no issues, and it did what it was supposed to do. There is not a lot I can say about this what has not already been said. It does what it says on the tin and looks good doing it. The fan performs on par with what would you expect from a fan of its size. It scores pretty well in the test results, coming out top in top temperatures, and it comes out roughly around about the same as the others in all the other tests. So not huge you can say about the temperatures, but it does perform well. Would I stock this in my store? Yeah, I would, because it gives you that addressable RGB fan, what a lot of people want these days, and it's got the performance as well. So why not stock it, is my question. Standout point of this device is probably the colours and motherboard compatibility, because it's quite extensive. You've got every colour under the sun, you can have it, and you can do pretty much what you want. Other pros are it's got this rubber screw holes, the anti-vibration holes. It's attractive looking, and the colours again look really good. On the negative side of things, I would say the silver screws. I would personally like to see screws will actually fit in with it, so black would be ideal. And the fan is not a 4-pin PWM socket, it's only the 3-pin connector what goes to the motherboard. So other than that, it's a pretty good product, and I've got no problem giving this product a gold award. Thanks for watching this video all the way to the end. Don't forget to press the subscribe button over here. That way you'll get all the latest news and all the reviews we do on a weekly basis. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.